served as an executive producer before, but this is your first full producing credit, right?
Yeah.
Was there any reason that you decided to make the change now or for this material?
Yeah, I knew that I could give this material the energy that is required to actually produce. I knew I would be there from start to finish. I knew I wanted to be a part of those 11 conference calls a day and hiring the crew and looking at the cost reports and figuring out all the different crises that happen. And I just knew it because of the material and also because of Reed. Once I met Reed, I thought, I just want to support her in every single way. So I feel like what I'm most effective at as a producer is championing the filmmaker, and that's in my documentaries that I've produced, that's what I've done. And with Reed, it was a struggle at times because we were making a female-driven, female-directed drama, and we really had to fight to find the financing and to cast it and to then maintain control of it.
How is it for you as an actor stepping into this as a producer? Does your team of producers automatically assume, like, she's going to handle casting?
No. I think there was I had strong opinions about casting, and I wanted to be involved. I wanted to come in and read with everybody, and I wanted to make sure we got the people we wanted, or at least that the actors who we were offering to understood the value of the material. So I was active in that, but it wasn't just an assumption that it would be like through my connections or anything like that. I loved putting this movie together in the cast because we found these incredible actors who were willing to come in for a day or 2 days. People like Kevin Corrigan, Elisabeth Moss.
I didn't even recognize Elisabeth Moss for a quick second.
Isn't that great? She's so cool. She's just willing to do that because she likes the material, and she pops up in great films all the time because she's just doing it for the right reasons. And Kevin Corrigan, talk about like the classic New York actor who just brings a film to another level. The choices he made, just I'm so impressed and so grateful. And then Giovanni Ribisi, who I think just soars in this movie, and he was our dream for that role, and the fact that he said yes was one of the best days in pre-production.
That scene with the two of you on the roof was the first time I teared up, and I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
I know what turn this movie is taking now. It's going to happen.
I know. He's so powerful.
Backtracking a little bit, what came first, Reed or the script?
Script. Then Matt Tauber, another one of our producers, brought the script to Reed. And he said, I think this should be your directorial debut, because she'd obviously been a DP for so long, was so well respected, but had chosen not to direct other things that had come her way. And she loved this one, and everyone said she was crazy, because this shouldn't be your first film, it's too difficult, it's not saleable, all these things. And then she met me and a bunch of other actresses, because everybody wanted this role. I mean, I joked yesterday that it was like dropping ham into a piranha tank, because these roles don't come around often. And I met with her and said, listen, I know everybody wants this part, but I'll tell you what I think of this character and see what you feel. And we talked for 3 hours at the Bowery and fell madly in love. And then we decided to make the film. And it was really because we connected so much on not seeing it as just a relentlessly sad movie. We found there was complexity, there was humanity, there was redemption, and we had similar ideas about taking risks that weren't in the script. We thought, like the elephant scene was something that came out of just Reed's imagination as we started talking about the type of redemption we wanted the character to have.
I hope that was imagination during pre-production when it would give you time to find an elephant.
We had a little time. But it was an interesting thing to try to budget. But that's an example of something as a producer I really fought for, because obviously, as a line producer, you're going to look at a budget breakdown and say, well, this elephant is taking a huge amount of money. Can we get rid of that? Can it be a picture of an elephant? Can we do an animated elephant? I mean, she didn't say animated elephant. But obviously, a smart line producer is trying to save you money and is trying to be, conservative. And I said, that elephant scene is the most important part of this film. I will pay for it myself if I need to. I will ride that elephant into New York City if I need to. And that was because we, deserved that type of support. And I'm so excited that everybody, all the producers, everybody backing our film ended up giving her that creative power.
How about having Reed both direct and DP the movie?
God.
Because that seems, I've produced my fair share of shorts and a feature, and that just seems like the most insane idea.
Yeah. It is insane if you aren't as technically proficient as she is. I think it also helps that she's a mother, because she's constantly multitasking. She's got 2 little boys, so she's taking care of them while working as a badass DP for years. So that already gives her, I think, like 8 arms and the ability to split focus 7 ways. She's so good at keeping her cool and so respectful of her crew. And she handled it really well. I mean, she was not only DPing and directing, but operating, which is unheard of. I mean, it's literally Reed and Soderbergh. And I loved that as an actor because it had this immediacy and intimacy that was so cool because she would be whispering direction. And sometimes the crew wouldn't know what was happening because we would start a scene that was supposed to be very short, and then she would, because it was handheld, she would just follow me at the end of the scene, and I would try something different, and she'd be like, okay, yeah, go back. Okay, now walk over there, let's see what happens. And that, some of the most interesting points in the film came out of that, and that only happens with a baller who can handle a camera for that long.
What exactly did that look like? What did she shoot on?
She shot on, oh my god, she should tell you all the technical things. I mean, she wanted to shoot on film, by the way. She's amazing. She wanted to shoot on film. We couldn't afford it.
Was she wearing some sort of like rig to hold it, or just...
No.
She is.
It was on her shoulder. And one day I put it on my shoulder because I was like, because she was giving me shit for walking so fast because she was constantly following me with the camera. Like, we did a 9-minute tracking shot through the Times Square. And it was just me, Reed, and the focus puller. And I can't believe we pulled it off. We wanted to put the entire 9 minutes in the film, but only people who understand how difficult that is would understand why there was this 9-minute shot. But
what time of day do you have to shoot something like that?
That was at like 2 a.m. and then and it was still really crowded. We went back to Times Square to shoot another piece, and we went at 8 p.m. and that was a mistake, because that is when it is the most insane. I don't recommend going to Times Square ever, but particularly at 8 p.m.
I live there.
You live in Times Square?
I kept looking to see if maybe I was like crossing the street in the background. I don't think at like 2, 3 in the morning though.
So you know exactly what it's like.
I can't believe you shot that walking stuff there. It's insane.
Reed,
and it's like
Reed
not
was
like
operating and elbowing people out of the way because people would be like, "Hey, is that?" And she was like, "Doof, doof."
And you kind of can't hide in that yellow sweatshirt either.
No, I mean I had the hood up, but I couldn't like look down because we needed the shot. The whole point was that Sarah goes there to look for her son, and I think we got away for a long time without people recognizing, and then once they did, you know, the camera also draws most of the attention. So beyond knowing me, they're just excited someone's shooting something, and they come to New York to see that. But we were lucky we got 9 minutes. I do wish we could just release that as a short, maybe as like a music video.
That's not a bad idea, or even when it comes out on DVD,
yeah,
like a DVD extra, because like I'd be interested in seeing how that happens.
I'll read that today.
It's
so impressive. We go through all these different places and under these lights. I mean, it looks so beautiful. So yeah, she's really extraordinary.
What's the lighting like on something like this if you two are working together that way? I imagine you can't really have lights anywhere.
I mean, she's a great DP, so she put lights where she could, but a lot of it is available light. And you know, before we started shooting, I said we can't use any hair and makeup in this film because that's silly. A woman isn't going through this putting on makeup. I mean, maybe some women, but not this woman. She doesn't care. I mean, there's one scene that I love so much where I'm brushing my teeth and the toothpaste falls off the toothbrush and I just brush them anyway. And for me, that's indicative of how little this woman cares about her health and well-being. And I really didn't want her to look like she was taking care of herself. So we went for that not as like a big brave choice of any kind, but just a realistic choice. And then we had these like 100 mil lens that were like shooting right here, and I was like, well, that's good. I mean, this is particularly good because if you were this close and you were wearing makeup, you'd see it. So it was like through and through consistency in terms of realism, real light, no makeup, and we were showing that to the audience, and I think people feel that. They feel that nothing is fake.
Well, as a woman who does not wake up in the morning with a face full of makeup,
right.
I did really appreciate that.
Yeah,
because I can't even begin to tell you how many
times
times I've seen it.
Dink, dink.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about getting into this character's headspace? Because it sounds like a total nightmare to me. Is it just playing pretend for you, or do you actually have to think of real things that make you upset?
Have to think of real things that make you upset. I remember there was one scene we were shooting where I'm in a bathroom of a White Castle looking at a video of my son, of Jessie, in the film, and I was watching a real video of my son, and it was very intense. And there's a part of you that thinks, in a sort of superstitious way, is this bad to use him? But the conclusion I came to is he is my definition of love, and if that is what I'm dealing with as this character, there's no reason not to use, you know, that focus. I mean, it at times it was really hard to shake it off and have a friendly conversation. But everyone on the crew kind of understood every moment and its level of difficulty, and people gave me a lot of space. And then I think it really helped being a producer, because I could disassociate when I needed to and say, you know, okay, well, let's you know, change this or move this so we can make this day. Let's do that. I also had such a good producing team around me that people knew the days when I really just needed to focus on acting and didn't bring all the nightmare crises to me to handle.
I was going to say, producing so stressful as it is, I can't imagine being in that kind of space and then having to switch gears to deal with, you know, some sort of production issue.
Exactly. Production issues, yes. There were things that were helpful to be in the headspace of the character, because I could say, wait a minute, I think we have an issue, because if I'm feeling this way now, I don't think we can have that scene happen in that place. I think we should shoot that here. You know, it was almost like making adjustments with the story and script from within it was an interesting experience, and sometimes those decisions were valid, or ideas were valid, and Reed would say, no, trust me, and sometimes they were actually really helpful. So as an experiment, it's something that's difficult, and I wouldn't do with anyone that wasn't as amazing as Reed.
Did you ever consider casting another actress and just producing it yourself?
The point, when I'd already been cast, and I was very focused on preparing the film, and then I got pregnant, and I thought, we have to shoot it, because at that point we had a really great actor attached to play the husband, and I didn't want to lose him, and I thought, oh my god, we'll shoot it with someone else. I wasn't yet a producer, but I was going to say, let me drop out but produce it, and I'm sorry I ruined it by getting pregnant. And I thought that was the conversation we were going to have, and instead Reed said, oh no, it's great that you're pregnant. This is like the best preparation for the character ever. That was the only time I thought about maybe stepping back and you know, producing it for another actress. The role was so great, I think it would have broken my heart not to have my shot at it. But the experience of producing it made me really excited to go forward and just produce and not act, because I loved when the other actors were working. Coming in on days when it was just Luke was so fun, because I could, you know, just see the other side of the process and just help facilitate it the best I could.
Semi-random question, but I need to ask about the yellow sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Is that something that's connected to the character and who she is, or is it because it looks so gorgeous in the frame?
Well, it's both. I mean, Reed loves that shade of yellow, and it was within her palette, and we really loved that it wasn't this macabre, you know, black palette of clothing for Sarah. But we also felt that yellow represented this kind of purgatory that Sarah was in. She's not stopping, she's not going, she's caught in between.
And now, before we have to wrap up, I must ask about Tron, because I hear it's shooting in Vancouver in October. Is that true?
You know, I've heard the same. I think there's a lot of people really excited to make it happen within Disney and in the world, and we've been dreaming of making it since we finished Legacy, so I would be thrilled.
People have been talking about it since Legacy too. When did you first find out that it was going to happen?
The delay has only ever been story, finding the right story. It hasn't been anything else. There's never been a time where we wanted to go and then schedules got in the way. It's only been like, that's not the right story. So in the past year, the right story kind of came together, and we felt, oh, this might be the right one to tell. And, you know, there's still a lot to be done before it could actually happen. But the fact that there's a goal of this year to start is really exciting.
And have you read the script?
I have.
Can you share any thoughts? Obviously no spoilers or details, but like, how do you feel about it? Is there anything exciting that's coming up for your character that you can tease?
I love this character of Quorra so much, and I built her with Joe Kosinski, and we took her such a long way from what was written to what we made. I mean, I fought for her to be this kind of androgynous child, and that's so not what you typically see in these movies, so I'm so grateful that the producers let me play with her and make her this strange little being, and I'm really excited to see what happens to that character when put into the real world. I think it's an interesting concept. I'm fascinated by all discussions of AI, and especially now, today, and now with virtual reality becoming something that's like a personal device. I think it's the time to tell this story.
I feel like every other movie I've seen is either an AI movie or comes with some sort of 4D experience.
Yes.
Exciting for people.
Exactly.